Good evening, everyone. So, in this video, you and I are going to talk about the top 3 things you can do to be a desirable web developer. So let's get into it. Now, I have to tell you that a lot of the time I see videos where web developers, or so-called web developers, I will explain why I do this when I call those people web developers. I see these videos a lot, and I see them not only in video form. I see them as blog posts and so forth and so forth, and they always seem to emphasize quite a bit on portfolios. Now, what is a portfolio? Well, according to these people, a portfolio is a collection of beautiful styled website, a very artsy take on something that can range from a web shop to a personal blog of some sort, and everything there between, basically. And I'm here to kind of challenge this a little bit, and now I'll explain the quotation marks. If you tell a junior software developer that the way to stand out is to have a nice portfolio of beautifully designed web pages, I think that you may be using your job title a little bit loosely. I think that you may not be a web developer. I think that you are a web designer. Or maybe you're at the very least very heavy into the design aspect of things. And let me tell you why. Now, first and foremost, I will tell you that there's nothing wrong with being a web designer. But what I find very interesting is that there's a lot of people who seem to make the mistake of thinking that being a web developer is all about making interfaces. It's actually not. Trust me, it's not. Being able to use CSS and do beautiful layouts and be artsy and creative with styling, yeah, absolutely, that is something that could, in theory, be desirable. So that's going to go up there as one of the things that you can do to be a desirable web developer. Being able to make things look pretty and beautiful are absolutely something that is desirable. But it kind of depends also, because you see, I will not lie to you. I've never been in the habit of lying to you, so why would I start now? Let's just say that although I find design extremely interesting, and it's something that I spend a lot of time trying to be good at and trying to learn to the best of my abilities, I am not the sort of person who, I can tell you right now, I don't have a portfolio of beautiful web pages. Not a single one. And I've never struggled to get a job as a web programmer or a front-end developer or whatever you want to call it. Not once. In fact, I have never had to look for a job. I get offered more jobs a week than I could find before I became a programmer. And I don't have a portfolio. So how can that be? If it's all about the portfolio, how can that be? Well, let me tell you the big lie that these people are telling you. The big lie that they're telling you is that if you have mad design skills and you're great with CSS and HTML, that is only feasible at very specific types of companies, or rather it's only important at very specific types of companies. Most of the time, the companies that you work in, they are not hiring you because you are a creative soul that can morph what you have inside into a web page. They have a designer or a UX person. They have somebody who's already given the project a direction. They are hiring you to make the code. Because the designer doesn't know CSS, the designer doesn't know HTML, the designer doesn't know JavaScript. That's where you come in. That's your job. And most likely, you're going to do the server as well if you're a full stack type of person. So, although I agree that there is a value in having a creative flair for things, it's actually, I would say, much more important if we're just thinking about this first thing that you can do. It's much more important for you to actually know the web, because trust me, I have worked with so many designers. They're absolutely amazing at design, but they don't know shit about the web. And that's a problem, because all the things that they design, although beautiful, a lot of them are extremely unfeasible and technically challenging for the company to build. That's where you come in. As a web developer, not a web designer, a web developer, you know what a good design looks like, something that you can actually build and make performant, because it doesn't matter if the design is beautiful, if it's depending on computationally heavy operations that are tied to the scroll event. That's where the designer has absolutely no idea what's going on. That's where you come in. That's much more desirable than being able to make something pretty, because trust me, there are a lot of people out there who can make things pretty, but there are very few people who can do what you do. So that's number one. Number two, if you want to be impressive as a web developer, is to have skills. How do you communicate skills? Well, it's very easy. These people that you most likely have seen who talk about portfolios, they are only looking at one set of skills. But I have found that it's actually much more desirable from the people who are hiring's perspective to hire people who have specialist knowledge in things that they use as a part of their development. Like, take me, for example. Do you have any idea how many people I'm not gonna say, or I'm not gonna be dirty about it, but let's just say they're very, very, very happy to see me when I tell them that I have a fair bit amount of experience working with Webpack at the professional level. I also know React at a professional level. Same thing with Angular. I have worked with all of these like mainstream type of tools in a professional capacity. And apart from that, I'm also fairly good with different optimization techniques for the web, such as lazy loading, service workers, like all of these different things. And I have used them in a professional capacity. That is very, very rare if you only talk to people who are web programmers, or rather web developers, the people that I call web designers, because they have absolutely no idea about this. So I'm not trying to belittle what these people have been telling you in the videos. I'm just simply stating that if these people are really in the craft and they're actually part of the profession, I very much doubt that they have spent any amount of time working at any type of like larger companies. They may have been working for a design firm or something like that, because I'll tell you again, if somebody's telling you that the best way for you to get a job as a web developer is to make a beautiful portfolio of static websites, they are lying to you. It is not the best way. It is by no means the best way. So we cover the first two. Number one, you have to be able to actually know the web platform. Ideally, you have a flair for design. It's a partial truth on their part. Sure, being able to know what good design is and so forth is valuable, but it's much more valuable that you actually know what's a good design and what's a bad design, because the designer doesn't know. The UX person doesn't know. They have, for the most part, absolutely no idea. Second thing is, as I said, have the skills, know the tools, know the tools of the trade. If you are good at this stuff, which is so rare to find, people will be very, very happy to see you, to the point where they will fly you places. You have no idea how far away I've gotten job offers just because I have basically I was one of the people who helped convert one of the biggest projects on Ticketmaster over to React. That weighs very heavy in the IT world. So know your tools. Thirdly, if you want to be attractive as a web developer, and this one is I'm sorry guys, to all the men out there, I'm sorry about this one, but it is true. Be a woman. Now, I'm not trying to be sexist. I swear to God, I'm not trying to be sexist. But female programmers, doesn't even have to be a web programmer, is probably one of the most desirable things that there is in the world at this point. You have no idea how much political leverage you will have as a female programmer. There are simply none. I was joking the other day at my company, because we're trying desperately to find females that want to come and work for us, because we want that diversity into the company, right? And my boss told me that he had said to the recruiters that, we're primarily looking for a senior female developer. And I just laughed. I just started laughing, and he's like, what's wrong? And I said, well, that's like asking for a unicorn that has one brown eye and one blue eye. Do you have any idea how rare that is? I have met 2 senior female programmers in my entire life. That's how rare it is. It's extremely rare. And trust me, for all the girls out there, there are people. The cost of recruiting you for the companies that are trying to recruit people is actually higher than it is for us guys. I swear, they actually pay if a recruiter gets you to sign up with another company. That is actually a bigger payday for them than hiring someone like myself, for example. So yeah, if you really want to be popular in the job market as a web developer, learn the web platform really well, have the skills, know the tools of the trade really well, and be a girl. Those are my 3 tips. Have a great day.